Hi everyone, good evening. Happy 4th of July. Here it is, 4th of July. Hopefully some of you are spending time with your families today. I'm spending time with my family. So I've pre-recorded this so that I could be with my family. But I will be looking at your comments afterwards, and I'll look forward to hearing from you. I want to talk for a few minutes today about freedom. I mean, it's the 4th of July, so we're hearing that word. That's what the 4th of July is all about, is freedom, right? And although we're grateful to live in a country where we have freedoms, many freedoms that they don't have in other places in the world, many of us feel anything but free, don't we? We're bound up by our heartache and our heartbreak over our kids, and I know for some of us, we have a deep heaviness, just a heaviness that weighs us down and doesn't allow us to move forward in the way we should be. If we were truly free, if we were free, we would be able to move forward. But some of us are paralyzed with fear and anxiety and just pain, hurt. So we're constrained by that anxiety and fear, and many of us have lost sight. We've lost sight of the good things in our lives because we're so focused on the child who's hurting us. They're hurting themselves, and so it hurts us, right? Some of you have children who have turned their backs on you, have made the choice to be estranged from you. Some of you haven't seen your grandchildren. I mean, there's so many different scenarios, but the pain is the same. The pain that we experience when we have a child or children that are out of control, it's the same, whatever the reason. So freedom, I was looking up that word, and generally freedom is having the ability to act or change without constraint. Having the ability to act or change without constraint. Something is free if it can move easily and is not constrained in its present state. A lot of us feel constrained in our present state, don't we? We feel like we can't act or we can't change, we can't make a decision because we don't know what our child is going to be doing. Everything revolves around them. We don't have freedom. We allow our children, and this is the truth, we do have freedom. I mean, you can have freedom to make a choice, but we are allowing our children to constrain us. They constrain our joy and our peace and our total sense of well-being. But again, only if we allow them to. We have a choice in that. And I know that sounds harsh, but we forget that to some extent we have choices in this situation that we're in. We feel like our child is calling all the shots, right? We feel like they're the boss. They're the ones who we tiptoe around, that we put our plans on hold. And there's so many things that happen around these kids. And somewhere along the line, many of us become victims. It becomes our identity. We begin to identify as a hurting mom. I did. My identity for many years was of that of being a hurting mom. But the truth is that we can choose to allow our child's action to dictate our life, or we can choose to take our life back and begin to live again in God's grace. And by the way, God's grace is enough for us. It is. It's enough for us to be able to experience peace and joy, even in the midst of the situation with our child. I've heard from a couple moms this week, and my heart has been really heavy this week because I've gotten emails from more than one mom, probably at least 3, just this week, who say they have given up. They've given up on believing that God hears their prayers. They've been praying for so long and nothing's happening and their prayers aren't being answered, and so they're beginning to feel that God either doesn't exist or doesn't hear their prayers. But I want to tell you something. God hears our prayers. God hears us, and He weeps with us over our children. Remember, they're His children too, and we're our children, and He sees our heartache and He weeps with us. But He's given us all freedom. Yes, even our children. He's given us all freedom to make our own choices. And just like the choices that our children make are hurting us, it hurts Him too. And let's face it, some of our choices, some of the things that we've chosen to do, some of our lives have hurt Him as well, because we are His children as well. My prayer for all of us today is that we will choose to live in freedom like my friend Gwendolyn has done. Some of you have met Gwendolyn. She's a Hurting Moms leader. She lives in Florida. She's been on the Thursday video with me before. And Gwendolyn's daughters completely turned their backs on her after her divorce from their father. They made a conscious decision to be estranged from her. And that, she hasn't seen them or heard from them for a number of years. Of course, her heart has been broken in a million pieces. She's all alone in the world. She works several jobs to be able to support herself. But when she isn't working, you know what she's doing? She's serving others. She's giving of herself, or she's traveling. She shared with me that she made the decision. It was a conscious decision. It didn't just happen. She made the decision and the choice to give herself to others and to travel the world, to visit places that she never even dreamed that she would be able to visit. I love her introduction to herself on Facebook. On Facebook, what she says, and I have to read, I want to get it right. It says, traveling the world, one adventure at a time, God has repurposed me for his glory. Don't you love that word, repurposed? I love that. I'm stealing that, Gwendolyn. I'm adopting that word. I love that word. You know, for so many years, I don't know about you, my guess is a lot of you are like me. For so many years, my whole purpose in life was to be a mom. That was my purpose. In fact, I wanted to be a mom ever since I was a little girl. When people would ask me, what do you want to do when you grow up? I would just say, I want to be a mom. And then I became a mom. And for many, many years, that was my whole identity. It was my purpose in life. And then my children grew up, and some of them kind of went their own way, especially. It broke my heart. And I had to learn to repurpose my life. And that's what Gwendolyn's done. I just love that, repurpose. And maybe some of you can adopt that word too and think about it. Maybe your purpose all along has been to be a mom. And maybe now as a mom, your kids are turning their back on you, or they're not listening to you, or whatever the reason. But you can choose to repurpose your life for God's glory. And in fact, she said that, repurpose me for his glory. Don't you love that word? I love it. Can't get over it. But you know what Gwendolyn does now? She spends time every Saturday working with underprivileged children at a Girls and Boys Club. I think her, if I'm not mistaken, her church started it. But she, every Saturday, and I've seen pictures of her, these precious children, just pouring into them, and them looking up at her with just eyes of love and adoration. And it's filling her. It's filling the empty places. And you know what else this year she did? She went to the Holy Land. She took a trip. I haven't been to the Holy Land. It's one of my bucket list items. She went to the Holy Land and she saw the things Jesus saw. And she walked in the places that Jesus walked. She went on a boat on the Sea of Galilee and she got rebaptized in the Jordan River. I mean, man, what an amazing experience. And she talks about how it just filled her up. And she came back from the Holy Land, and a few weeks later, she turned around and went on a missions trip to Africa, to Kenya. Now, I've been to Kenya 3 times on missions trips, and I have a heart for that country. My heart is just, I love the people, and I love that country. And I poured over her pictures that she was posting of first of all, of animals, giraffes and elephants, and some safari stuff where she got, and then the land, it's a beautiful, beautiful country. But the best pictures were the ones of her with the children and those wonderful, beautiful, sweet spirit people that live there in Kenya. And she got to pour into them and love on them. And again, it filled her up. Gwendolyn is one of the most joyful people that I know. I love talking to her. I love listening to her. It fills me up. But you know why that is? Because she made a conscious decision to change her life, to repurpose her life, to receive and enjoy the freedom that God has given her, that she has, regardless of what her children are doing. And I think we can all take a note there and all kind of, I don't know, I aspire to be like Gwendolyn. So one of the things people say, well, it's easier said than done. It's easier to talk about freedom and talk about, talk about all that stuff. How do we get free? How do we make a choice to be like this? Well, I'm going to tell you, one of the ways that you can do that and receive the tools that you need to be able to do that is in Hurting Moms, Mending Hearts, Breaking Free group. So we have 10-week support groups. We have a whole bunch of new groups getting ready to start between now and October online, where you go online, you're like in a room together, talking together, seeing each other, praying together. And we have a number of local groups around the country, the U.S. and Canada. So go to our website, hurtingmomsmendinghearts.org. And if you go, there's a group locator map. You can see if there's a group in your area. But if there's not one in your area yet, please, please, please do it online. Go through an online group and get the tools that you need to be able to repurpose your life, to be able to live in the freedom that God wants you to have, to be able to live in His abundant grace, and to experience joy and peace again. So I, again, have a wonderful long weekend. I love you all. I say this every week, but I have to keep saying it because it's true. I wake up praying for you. I go to bed praying for you. I'm thinking of hurting moms all the time. There is nothing like this heartache we experience, but we can move beyond it. Hundreds of moms already have. And so my prayer for you all today is that you would seek that freedom, make some choices to be able to change your focus, walk away from the victim mentality and become a new person in Christ. So take care. Have a great week. I'll be back live next week. Be watching. I may be popping on periodically and to give you some stuff, give away some free stuff. So love you all. Take care. Have a good weekend.